Richard Petty just said what no one expected, and it shook the entire NASCAR world. After Bubba Wallace made history by winning the Brickyard 400 and locking himself into the playoffs, fans waited. They waited for a word, a nod, some kind of respect from the legend himself. After all, Bubba once drove for Petty's team. He wore the number 43. He carried the King's legacy. But when the moment came, Richard Petty didn't just stay silent, he dropped a bomb. "No, I never congratulate anybody," Petty said when asked if he planned to call Bubba. "Even my own drivers. You put them out there. You expect them to win. That's what you put them out there for." Let that sink in. No congrats, no shout out, not even a simple well done, just cold, hard indifference. Now to be fair, Petty claims he never congratulates any driver, not even his own. That's his style. Old school, no nonsense, win and move on. But context matters. And the context here? It's heavy. Bubba Wallace didn't just win a race. He broke a 100-race losing streak. He carried an unchartered team, 2311 Racing, co-owned by Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, to a historic victory at Indianapolis. This wasn't a lucky break. It was strategy, skill, and heart. It was the kind of win that should have had legends tipping their hats. Instead, the Petty family turned their backs. And Richard wasn't the only one. His son, Kyle Petty, didn't hold back either. After Bubba skipped media interviews following a rough race weekend, Kyle threw fire on the gasoline. "If mentally he is that fragile, then maybe this is not the game for him," Kyle said. No sympathy, no room for understanding, just a brutal shot straight to the heart. But here's the thing, Bubba Wallace has never hidden his struggles. He's opened up about the pressure, the self-doubt, the mental toll of carrying a spotlight that's as bright as it is critical. He's not just a driver, he's the only black driver in NASCAR's top tier. Every move he makes, every word, every emotion, is watched, judged, and picked apart. And now, when he's honest about needing a break to protect his mental health, Kyle Petty calls him fragile? The fans weren't having it. Social media lit up. Reddit threads exploded. Some backed Kyle, saying drivers need to show up, no matter what. But others slammed him as cold and out of touch. They pointed out Bubba's honesty isn't weakness, it's strength. Especially in a sport that's long been built on the idea that emotions should stay hidden and pain should be ignored. But this isn't just about two harsh comments. This is about something bigger. This is a full-blown culture clash. On one side, you've got Richard and Kyle Petty, legends of the sport. They grew up in a NASCAR where toughness meant silence, where interviews were mandatory, and where feelings were checked at the garage door. On the other side is Bubba Wallace, a new voice in a changing sport. He talks openly about his mental health. He speaks out against injustice. He's not just racing cars, he's challenging everything NASCAR used to be. And that makes people uncomfortable. The divide is real, and it's growing. Some fans praised Richard Petty's comments. They said Bubba still has more to prove. One win doesn't earn a crown. Others were furious. They said Wallace gave years to Petty's team, keeping it relevant during rough seasons. A simple word of support wouldn't have hurt. It might have even healed. But Richard didn't budge, and Kyle doubled down. Meanwhile, Bubba? He stayed quiet. No clapbacks, no tweets, no angry sound bites, just speed. He let his win do the talking. Clean laps, smart strategy, cool under pressure. It wasn't just a win, it was a message. And the message was clear. He's here. He's not asking for permission. He's not playing by old rules. He's writing his own. But the question remains, why would Richard Petty, the man who once trusted Bubba with the 43, refuse to even acknowledge his victory? And why did Kyle feel the need to kick him when he was already down? Let's go deeper. Because this story isn't just about hurt feelings or missed congratulations. It's about history, about a trust that broke, and maybe, just maybe, about old wounds that never healed. See, Bubba Wallace didn't just join Richard Petty Motorsports back in 2018. He saved it. The team was struggling, underfunded, underpowered, barely hanging on. When Bubba stepped into the Hash 43, it wasn't just a ride, it was a lifeline. He brought fresh eyes, new sponsors, and a whole generation of fans who had never watched NASCAR before. He stood next to Richard Petty at emotional press conferences. He brought national attention during moments of controversy and pain. He carried not just the car, but the brand. And for a while, it worked. But Bubba wasn't satisfied with just showing up. He wanted to win, and that meant needing better equipment, better funding, a better chance. Richard Petty Motorsports couldn't give him that. So when 2311 Racing, backed by Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, came calling, Bubba left. Some called it a smart move. Others called it betrayal. And you can feel that sting in Richard's voice when he says he doesn't congratulate drivers, that he expects them to win. No excuses, no handshakes. But that's not the full truth, because Richard Petty has congratulated drivers before. Lesser wins, smaller moments. So why the silence now? That's the part fans can't ignore. Some say Richard feels abandoned, that Bubba walking away from the 43 wasn't just business, it was personal. Others think it's about pride, that Bubba's rise with a flashy new team feels like a reminder of what Petty's team couldn't be. Then there's Kyle. Kyle Petty has never been shy with opinions, but this time, his words hit like a sledgehammer. Saying Bubba might be too fragile for NASCAR? That wasn't just analysis, that was a warning shot. But Kyle's timing couldn't have been worse, because Bubba's win at the Brickyard, it was one of the cleanest, smartest, most focused drives of the season. A performance built on mental strength, not weakness. He didn't crack under pressure, he owned it. So when Kyle said that, fans saw something else. Not critique, not tough love, but bitterness. It's not hard to imagine why. Bubba Wallace is now a bigger name than Kyle ever was as a driver. He's on magazine covers. He's got Jordan on speed dial. He's breaking molds, not following them. And for the old guard, that's hard to accept. But maybe the most shocking part of this whole drama? Bubba didn't bite back. He could have. He had every right to. He could have dragged the Pettys online, called out the shade, thrown his win in their faces. But he didn't. He stayed focused, professional, silent. And that silence, it might be the loudest message of all. Because here's the truth. Bubba Wallace isn't just racing for trophies. He's racing to change the culture, to open doors, to prove that you can be fast and still feel, that you can win and still talk about mental health, that you don't have to fit into a 1970s mold to belong in today's NASCAR. And every time someone calls him weak, or fragile, or undeserving, and he keeps winning anyway, it proves them wrong. That's why this story matters. It's not just one man versus two legends. It's about what kind of sport NASCAR is becoming. One that clings to the past, or one that drives into the future. And that future? It looks a lot like Bubba Wallace. So here we are, one driver, two critics, and a fan base completely split down the middle. Some say Bubba Wallace needs to earn more before he demands respect. Others say he's already done more than enough, and the silence from the Pettys says more about them than it does about him. But no matter where you stand, one thing is clear. Bubba isn't going anywhere. He's not just a driver, he's a symbol, a storm, a movement behind the wheel. And whether NASCAR's old legends like it or not, the game is changing. So what do you think? Did the Pettys cross a line? Or are they just keeping it real? Is Bubba rewriting the rules? Or just refusing to follow the old ones? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this story, it's far from over.